Hi, everyone. I'm Dylan McGee, founder and executive producer of Makers. Welcome to Makers at Home Live. And I don't know about you, but last week, my social media was exploding with energy and excitement around a new professional women's soccer team coming to Los Angeles. So I started digging and looking into it, and lo and behold, like so many amazing things, there was this force of badass women behind it, the leader of which was Kara Nortman, who is joining us today. And Kara is a friend. She's been on the Makers stage. And so, I emailed her immediately. Can we please chat? She sweetly said yes. And I said, I respected you so much before, and now I'm like fangirl extraordinaire. Anyway, just a little bit before I bring Kara on about Kara. She is a partner at Upfront Ventures based out in LA, and it's a VC firm. And speaking of VC, she's also one of the founders of All Raise, the incredible organization behind really diversifying and getting more women into VC, both on the business side and on the investment side. And then she's a LA native. She is the mom of 3 amazing girls. We're going to talk a little bit about, I think she's a collegiate athlete, unlike yours truly, which we can also talk about. And now she is the one of 3 founders of this amazing sports team called Angel City. So let's bring her on as I ramble on. Hold on, Kara, I'm coming to you.
And there she is.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I was like, please come. And you said yes.
Well, I don't know what we're allowed to say on here, but you have a way of with email titles. So
I like how that title, by the way, everyone, it was holy shit. And it just like became the chain that kept going with all the planning of it.
I know. You know what? I actually thought I should have should I pull people into a different thread? And I'm like, I don't have the energy. We're just going to keep going with holy shit.
Oh my God. I know. It's all right. That's the beauty of Makers. We can curse.
That's good. That's good. My 10-year-old told me this week that I could curse. So, and that it wasn't the first time she'd heard these words, and that it was okay. So
that's cool. I
think the week's almost over though. So we got to go back to, PG-13 soon.
Wait, where are you, Kara? Are you?
I am, I'm roaming around with my family to wilderness parts of Los Angeles. So
seriously?
Yeah, we're actually going to try to take a vacation soon, whatever that means, but we're going to try to get our girls outside and moving a little bit and off their screens.
Yeah, good.
So when you said, your natural environment, I thought, well, my hair is frizzy. That's natural.
Look at
I got all my props though. I got all my stuff here. Like I've got good stuff to show you.
Okay, good. All right. So let's do a little, first of all, the disclaimer, Kara, which is we know each other, but you may not know that as you were being an athlete in college, I was, dancing and singing on the stage and barely attending. So you got to speak like 101 with me. Okay. What was your sport, by the way? What did you play?
So I walked onto the crew team rowing. And actually, when I got to college, I wasn't good enough to play any of my high school sports. Basketball was really my sport, and a part of the story. You can see this is the basketball my grandmother gave me, and it says 1930 on it. So she played basketball in the Bronx in New York and gave this to me when I was 13, and I still wear it along with my daughters. And you can see my Angel City. But when I got to college, they were like, yeah, you could probably hang out on the bench, and that didn't sound fun. So I signed up for I'm from the West Coast, and I signed up for every East Coast sport I had never heard of or seen before. So I signed up for rugby and crew, and actually I did crew and rugby together. I didn't actually realize I had to go to class. But I ended up rowing for 4 years in college, and I like to say I was the last seat, the worst one in the boat. And I was in the
I
boat
don't
that
believe
pushed
it.
the boat that pushed the boat. But we won 2 national championships while I was there, so it was a pretty cool experience.
Well, someone on here, I think it's Roy, our incredible editor, is letting me the cat out of the bag that I say I'm not an athlete, but I was a coxswain.
Come on!
Just for 1 year, my freshman year. I
Oh
did it for
my
the
gosh.
cute boys. And then I was like, I don't belong here.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of spandex and not a lot, and like a lot of, there was a lot to look at. Dylan, that's incredible. Well, you and I should get out in a boat sometime. We just need to find 7 other people.
Sure, I'm in. Let's do it. All right, so let's talk soccer. I didn't even know. So there are 9 existing teams in the women's soccer league, National Women's
NWSL.
NWSL. Okay.
National Women's Soccer League.
Okay, so there are currently 9, about to be another one, and then you guys, right? So there will be 11?
There will be 11. Yeah, Louisville was announced as the 10th team, and they'll take the field in 2021. And Angel City is the 11th team, and we will take the field in 2022.
Can you believe, do you get goosebumps just saying that?
Honestly, last week I literally just was. I was just actually the day the announcement came out. I was stunned. I almost like couldn't move. I just keep pinching myself. Honestly, sometimes I get emotional. I called Natalie the evening of just to express my gratitude, and it's just I'm stunned that we got here because there were many points along the way where it was it didn't feel like it felt hard as all these things do, but yeah, I'm super excited, and we're all super excited, and this club is led by this amazing group of women, including Julie Ehrman, who is our president and kind of our North Star founder, our Dylan. So we're all pretty jazzed up.
Okay, wait. So you drop you drop Natalie. That would be Natalie Portman, people. And so, Kara, go back to that text chain and where you were and the origins of how this all came to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, so obviously, Dylan, you've been such a creative space where women come together, and I just think about all the amazing women I even met at your in the real world conference, and I think some of them are actually involved in this, and so you can appreciate how sometimes we come together for certain things, and then when you spend time together, other things come out of it, and so. In this case, Natalie and I got to know each other through some of our nonprofit kind of activism work. So she's one of the founders of Time's Up, and I helped start an organization in venture capital and tech with, many, many other amazing women called All Raise. And we kind of did a partnership, and at a gathering, much like Makers, it was called Connect, we met each other, and we just, she put her number in my phone after I did this call to action on stage saying, give a number to somebody you'd never give your number to, who has nothing to do with what you do.
I was there, so, I remember that.
So Natalie comes up to me and gives me her number. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take your number. And from there, we got to know each other a bit. And, at that point in time, it was 2018, I was just talking to anyone who would listen about soccer, and not with any specific goal in mind, but just, why didn't these women who were cultural icons, the best players in the world, just like legends, why couldn't you buy their jerseys? Why couldn't you watch their content? Why, if you could find it, was it streaming in some random place no one could find from a camera that looked like my 10-year-old was holding, from the stands? And so anyway, it started that way. I won't tell you the whole story because it'll take up to 30 minutes, but fast forward, Natalie brought a bunch of her friends to a game to bring kind of awareness and visibility to the national team's pay equity fight, and just to bring fun, and shared space. And I brought some tech people. We were not the people they wanted to post on Instagram. We were sort of like in the stands.
Why not?
I mean, I'm private on Instagram, so I people weren't really that interested in my 500 followers, I guess. Very public on Twitter, though. But anyway, so so that was the start of it, and then after the World Cup, and I went, and she was in France, and, you know, we were just going back and forth. And, you know, when you watch these games, and the finals were yesterday, when you watch these games with other people you know are into it, it's just, it's like our golf, right?
Totally.
You know, we always said time's up is like our golf. It's just, you're building community around things that are not like asking Natalie Portman for a favor or asking Kara Nortman for a favor. It was just fun. And I have to admit, I'm pretty growth mindset oriented, meaning like irrationally optimistic sometimes. But it wasn't until I got those text messages from Natalie where I thought for a second, well, I don't know, maybe this is possible. Like, it had never crossed my head, like in my wildest dreams. And so even for someone like me who's pretty optimistic, I needed Natalie to say, she said to me, I mean, we only showed part of the text stream. She said to me 3 times, let's look at getting a team to LA. What would it take to buy a team? I mean, she just kept asking. I would write these long text messages about unions and players and rights and movement. And she'd just write back, Kara, yeah, but should we buy a team now? Should we get a team here? And I was sitting next to my husband on an airplane, and he said, I think you're bothering her.
But Kara, I mean, you're right. Like, at the same time, you need the Natalie Portmans to kind of just like put you over the edge and say nothing is impossible. But I mean, the state of women's soccer, like, explain to me, the players aren't making money. There are only 9 teams right now. People aren't watching. I mean, wasn't it just this weekend, the big championship?
Yeah, so it was, and I can't wait to hear about the viewer numbers because it's the very first time it was broadcast on CBS. And so, you know, the quick thing about sports is, so the national team players tend to make real money but primarily from sponsorships. The NWSL players, I mean, the level of talent in the United States and internationally, you could probably field, you know, like every team in the NWSL could field half to 3/4 of the national team. So it's just exceptional levels of talent. And yeah, I mean, to level set, they don't get paid a living wage. Most of them have to hold multiple jobs. So the starting point for us is how do we get this organization to make money so that we can get them to, this is their job? How do you get this to be their primary job for the national team and the national team as their secondary job? But I think the thing that was interesting as I started looking into it, and truly, when I was in Vancouver, the 2015 World Cup, I could not buy a jersey. I went to 9 stores for my, and I found my money. Ooh, Dylan, are you still there?
I just lost you. Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay. So no one would take my money. We went to 9 stores. And even when I found a jersey, I couldn't find a jersey with a name on the back. And anyway, so the way so what we look at is you get people into the stadium. People, you know, they sell out. The national team sells out every time they come to LA. The men's teams sell out their stadiums every game. There's a lot, you know, USC and UCLA, which are, you know, world-class programs that field more players in the NWSL than almost any other colleges. They get 10 to 15,000 people a game. So just with people coming into the stadium and sponsorships, we should get to a good spot, but where you can really start, you know, making money and changing things, and then hopefully paying the players more and then a lot more over time, and it will take time, is media rights. So get this distributed on television, and who watches television anymore? I mean, you know, I think Julie actually still has cable, but Natalie and I are cord cutters. So she's always like, come on, you don't have channel 29. But
so it's also, I mean, so basically, Kara, you are, not only are you trying to just create a team, but you're trying to, you know, increase sports visibility in general and soccer. So by lifting up this new team, you're going to lift up the entire, you know, league.
That's the goal, absolutely the goal. And, you know, we're here because we talked to hundreds of people, including all the owners who were incredible in sort of giving us the playbook and helping us learn the business, the unions, the players, et cetera. But the idea is, I mean, you can't watch what you can't find.
Right.
You can't buy if you can't watch, and you can't get sponsorships out there. So I think it's 2 things. One is that it's just soccer as a whole in this country is at this point where even the men's leagues, the best leagues in the world, the Premier League and all the European leagues, you've only come to mainstream US distribution in the last year or two.
Yeah.
So, you do billions of dollars of revenue for baseball and basketball and football because you can watch it and you have advertising. And then I'd say the other thing that we're excited to do is we're building a brand. And the play on the field, we think and we hope will be the best entertainment experience anyone goes to, featuring soccer. Like, you're going to come and it's going to be fun and festive, and it's going to be like where 29-year-olds meet their friends. But the other piece of it is, it's a brand that will show up all over the place. It may not even show up on the field or on the pitch as its first incarnation. It may show up in digital realms you've never thought about. And so that's part of having Julie lead this and having somebody who comes from kind of a tech venture capital background, is that we can test and play around with different things. And it really is a very different team. I mean, it's all female-led, female-run, female-funded.
And isn't it
majority female-funded?
Is there a first in there, I believe? Like, you're the first majority female-owned.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, so
team
first of all,
ever?
I have to give a shout out to our lead investor, Alexis Ohanian, who's one of the good ones. He's just you need your male allies, and we have a number of them as well. And of course, Serena Williams and Olympia Ohanian. But this is the first professional team in the United States that is women-led, President Julie Ehrman, women-founded, me, Natalie Portman, and Julie Ehrman, and majority women-owned. And we have women across the cap table, many of whom I think, are makers women. So 14 former U.S. national team players, including Julie Foudy, Mia Hamm, Abby Wambach, Glennon Doyle, Eva Longoria, Jessica Chastain. The list goes on and on. But yeah, Uzo, just like this, and all these women were at the games, and I mean, that is really special to have the former players in there because they built the house. We're just trying to put the next floor or maybe even the roof on the house or a window. I don't know if the analogy is working, but it's really been incredibly special to have the players in.
Kara, what I loved reading about is you're focused obviously on, and by the way, we should do a shout out because I see that Julie is on here, and Julie, everything I've read about you is amazing and no better president. So go, Julie. I see our mutual friend Robin Ward on here. I saw someone with the Nortman last name, Debbie or someone shouting
Doreen, my mom. Doreen, my mom.
That's your mom. Mom.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom. Look at what you created, this incredible woman. But one of the things that I am really excited about is, obviously, we're talking so much about diversity and inclusion. It's so much at the heart of Makers and everything that you do in your life, and it's just in your DNA, Kara. And I know that you all are thinking about not only growing this industry, equal pay, and all those kinds of things, but also diversity on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, look, soccer is a sport that largely grew out of Title IX, which means, and grew out of the club system. And so it's a journey for soccer, but it's getting there, and it really is getting there. And you have some iconic leaders sort of on the field, on the national team, et cetera. But for us, I think from the beginning, we have an opportunity to not just do the diversity, but the equity and the inclusion. And I think that's the part that is a work in progress for everyone who's doing it. And so to some extent, I mean, Julie and Natalie and I talk about this because we're, it is on the field, it's off the field, it's having the space to make mistakes, it's doing with intention, it's trying to bring in best practices from other industries. And from the beginning, we're partnering with an organization called LA84, and they are all about participation in sports, particularly for underrepresented youth and communities. And so getting girls of color, boys of color, people who are, it should not be an expensive sport. I mean, this is a sport where you need a ball and some dirt. And so, but I think we come at it with that intention and with wanting the sport in all ways to be as representative of the world we're in. And LA is one of the most representative counties in the country. I mean, it's one of the only majority cities. Anyway, we don't have a racial majority in LA. And I think I could be wrong, but the only other city where that is true is Houston. And so anyway, I mean, it should be one of those sports where you can provide more access. And so we're partnering with LA84 to learn, to go on a listening tour, to figure out what we can do to have impact. And candidly, we need to bring people into the sport at the most elite levels, but sports, for all of us, I think, helps us find community and tribes, even if you stop at 13 or 15.
Or even if you never do it except for a Cox on a one semester college.
Dylan, you're so modest. The coxswain is the key to it all working. Like, if the coxswain's not motivating you or steering properly, you're crashing into a bridge, and that's a problem.
I'm all in on soccer. I met Abby Wambach. I fell in love with her, and like ever since, it's been like, where can I get it? So I'm so happy.
Oh my God, I'm reading Glennon's book right now, Glennon Doyle's book, and it was like I didn't even know I needed to read the book, and it's just happening at the perfect time. But it's that Abby, Glennon, I mean, just so many people around the table who have lived this.
Well, and that's what's so amazing. It's women supporting women, and that's what Angel City is all about. I mean, you guys are women-led, women supporting, women loving. I mean, it's a road ahead for you, my friend. So
what do you mean?
What feels the most daunting?
I think in a lot of ways we've gotten over the most daunting kind of hump, which is getting capital in. I mean, two things. Honestly, it's not easy to find a Julie, right? So Natalie, like each one of us played a really major role in getting it live, but it is really, what I do in my day job is I fund tech founders and entrepreneurs, usually at the earliest stage, right? We come in and we do their first round of funding. I'm usually their first board member, and you're funding the founder. And it's this person with this North Star vision. So getting Julie right, and by the way, it came out of our pickup women in tech basketball game with Robin Ward, who is the secret behind so many of these relationships and friendships. So huge shout out there. But Julie was really without Julie, it wouldn't happen. And when other teams and cities are now calling me, I think one of the things I'm really trying to hammer home is you have the money now, I think, is getting easier and easier to come, right? Because every time a team comes in that sort of is like this team and is like Louisville, and we've already had 4 others reach out to us to say they want to bring a team to their city, which was our goal. The money will be there. It really is finding the person who can be a little bit innovative, can take the playbook, can play with new things, and then share it around the league, right? The league is shared with us. Portland invited us up. Julie has spent so much time with all the owners. So that's the first thing, is I think finding that person and not just thinking it's about money and taking the exact model that works already and being able to fail. I think the most daunting thing is actually having room for mistakes, because right now, it's sort of like the resume is perfect right now. And as somebody who's been involved with startups my whole life, everyone has a moment where they do something wrong, and it's a world right now where there's less tolerance for that. And I just think, if we take the wolf pack, which is something I think about a lot, right, and this idea of abundance and women supporting women, we have to go into this with intention. We have to have people hold our feet to the fire, but we also have to create room for mistakes and to come together and push through them. And so, the rest of it, I'm such a true believer. I just think we're going to blow it out of the water. I mean, the MLS which is the men's league, was close to going out of business 10, 15, maybe years ago. And now the expansion teams are being sold for $300 million. And so it really is a venture capital startup market that is changing. And these women who play on the field and coach are just they're the best in the world.
They are. And you're in it early. I loved you did a text. You did a text that our producer Elizabeth shared with me that it was about 100 years ago, the Spanish flu and World War II. They lost 100 million lives, and at that moment, Gucci wanted to start something that no one had ever heard of, right?
Yeah.
And so now here we are at this time in history, and here you are you're making history, all of you women. And it's such a pivotal moment that I know we will be talking about forever. And I also know we only have 5 more minutes left. And so I do want to kind of get a sense from you. I want to do closing thoughts, but what are your 3 props? We always ask everyone on this, what are the 3 things that have been getting you through?
Okay, I'm going to show you. But before I do, Carrie Bennett, who is my partner in crime at Upfront Ventures, is telling me the hardest thing is going to be finalizing the name. But I need to do a quick call to action. If everyone's anyone who's watching this, follow us at We Are Angel City, put your email in at We Are Angel City on Instagram and Twitter. weareangelcity.com is where you can sign up for season tickets, get merch. We're going to have some really cool drops.
So again, give everyone another Angel City.
I mean, is this PG? Okay.
Yes.
This is,
yes.
There you go. Okay. So can I just like put this down on my desk? So
yes.
Here,
do whatever.
Like we do it like this. Okay. So first of all, I have all my daughters on my desk. This is my cutout of my little one. And then she's like a flat Stanley.
She's just
so
a little.
Sometimes I march her into Zooms. This is my middle one from when she was similarly aged. This is my big one holding my little niece, Claire. My sister's going to watch it later because she's working, Kim Nortman. So I always have those around. I have my mask.
Good for you.
This actually comes from Hadley and Bennett, which is a women-owned, we're not investors, women-owned, amazing, kitchenware business in LA. I should have my Parachute Home mask because we are investors, and that's another amazing women-owned.
Wait, what was that again? Parachute Home?
Parachute Home, RALK.
Okay.
My very first investment when I got to Upfront Ventures and just taking the world by storm. All your home needs, guys, go to Parachute Home. If you know me, hit me on DM and I'll see what I can do for you. But just shop. I'm a capitalist this Monday morning.
Good.
Apparently.
It's good. It's like in your veins.
And then, I meve got my daughter's artwork, and I always keep that here, my 7-year-old. I've got my ritual vitamins, but I'm a big collector of words I like, quotations I like, and recently analogies, because I think that helps people understand what you're saying or thinking. So I have 2 quotes here, and actually they came from a holiday gift I got from a woman named Katie McGrath, who's not super public, but is somebody who is probably one of the people that most holds my feet to the fire and calls me out when I need to be better and gives me room when I need to when it's okay that I'm not doing as well, and just generally inspires me. But she sent me these quotations, and I've kept them near me for 18 months when I'm working, and I just pulled out the 2 that I have had on my desk recently. And so, and you can see there's a coffee stain on this one, and I don't know if can you read it, or is it backwards? Okay, all right, I'll read it. The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow sharper. William Butler Yeats. And then the second one, and I thought I should end with this one, because when I went to an all-girls school, she was one of the first speakers who came and sat with me in my brain for probably life. This is from Shirley Chisholm, and the quotation is, "If they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair."
Go Shirley. All right. Well, to all of you watching this live and afterwards, to build on Shirley Chisholm's quote, bring a folding chair. You have brought many folding chairs and all of this in this endeavor that you're doing. I truly believe we used to study, in history, we'd get to hear about, maybe Susan B. Anthony and Rosa Parks and a few others. But now what's so cool about our history books is they'll be littered with amazing women, and you'll be one of them, Kara Nortman. So thank you for making history and changing it all for us. I just couldn't get enough of this announcement last week, and all you and Julie and Natalie and team are doing. So thank you on behalf of Makers. And yes, someone just asked if we will post those quotes. I think Makers will do that, and we'll share. And so any parting advice of things we can do besides signing up again go to weareangelcity.com, follow on social media, watch.
Watch it, tune in, watch next year, find players, follow them on Instagram. Last night I started following Rachel Daly and Pierce and Christy Mewis and all the Houston players and Julie Ertz and everyone on the field. They have distribution on Instagram now, and they're activists, they're icons, they're businesswomen. They're just awesome, and they really helped us. They all helped us get here. Megan Rapinoe, Alex Morgan, but there's so many others. So I would just follow them. I would say there's 2 things I've thought a lot about, and one of them is Glennon and Abby's, kind of wolf pack mentality. I just think we have to keep leaning into abundance. I don't think we're taught to do that as women. There's two things that, resonate. One is that, and when tell each other stories, celebrate moments, find new friends, and like work against our worst 12-year-old, 13-year-old vibes to just be kind. So that one is that abundance, the wolf pack. That's something I've thought a lot about. And the second one is like a journey forever for me. And this was some advice I got from Megan Rapinoe when I called her, and she thinks I live this, but I need to remind myself all the time, ask for forgiveness, not permission. Just go into your heart and your soul. And if it is something that is real and right to you and you feel it, don't worry if you're going to upset other people. You might sometimes, and better to be respected than liked, and to be true to who you are.
Well, you're giving us so many quotes. We have Instagram on Makers for a week. Thanks.
Oh, Dylan, can we do this in the real world whenever that happens again?
Let's do it in the real world. I miss you. You're the best. I wish we weren't on other coasts, but we'll get together at some point and celebrate.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do to have been bringing this community together far before, it was all over the place. So appreciate all you do for the world.
Well, and Makers, our commitment is we're storytellers. And so to the extent to which we can tell the stories of as many soccer players as possible, keep us in the loop, and we're here to help.
Oh, we got some for you. So Okay.
We just did a deal.
Let's do it. We got some for you.
All right, Kara. Thank you. Julie, I know you're watching. Thank you. All of you. We're so appreciative. Now go vacation. You deserve it. Mwah.
Thank you, Dylan. Have a good one.
All right, bye.
Bye.